I will find you. You will ask, what will you do when they find me? Don't be scared of yourself.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
And I'm Ashley.
We would like to welcome you to the Work It, You Are Worth It podcast.
We're two friends sit around and talk about healing, growth, and healthy relationships.
Hey, Ashley.
Hey, Dawn. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Beautiful weekend here. I got to go to a baby shower yesterday, so it's been a fun week.
Oh, nice. Nice. It's a little warm here. It's like yesterday was like 92 degrees. So
It's only a high of 50.
I'm actually thinking about heading to the pool after we're done. So
we don't go swimming in November in North Carolina, Dawn.
People want to know why I live here. There's why. It might be hotter than hell in July and August, but man, oh man, it is beautiful. It was a little bit warm yesterday, and it was a little bit warm this morning. I will say that, but it is nice to go lay at the pool in the middle of November.
Yeah, I personally do not want to have my AC on in November.
Oh yeah, so I mean, I would ideally, I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in northern Indiana, so having my windows open is something I love to do. And I still do it here. I haven't done it as much living in the apartment because I don't have the cross breeze that I would want with it. So I do really, really miss that. I think that's one of the biggest things that I even miss about having a house. I love having an apartment and not having to deal with a lot of crap, but I do miss having a bunch of windows.
See, I am the same way with the windows, and I'm also the person who, the high is 50 today, so we woke up this morning, it was probably 40 out there. Mm-hmm. I woke up to the window, so my bathroom window and the bathroom window on the other end of the house, or one of the bedroom windows on the other end of the house, I leave them cracked just 3 or 4 inches because I want that fresh breeze, that fresh air to come in.
I like to have the windows open. Even I remember I would have it open and it'd be, even here it would get cold, and the kids were always like, "It's so cold." Dylan would be like, "Cold, Mom, it's so cold. It's cold in here." And I'm like, "Go put more clothes on."
Wrap up in a sweater.
Right? Nothing's better than a good pair of sweats and a hoodie and then a blanket on top of that, curled up on the couch, and it's a little bit chilly. Oh my God, that's just that's heaven. That is. Oh,
I love
it. That. So, all right. How was your week? And good?
Yeah, it was a pretty good week. Just, work in the house.
Nice. So I had something happen last night. And I'll just share it with you on here. I've been, this year I've been really, really busy with, friends and making friends and being a lot more active and out. And so the last weekend I intentionally, kind of was like, I'm staying home Friday and Saturday, and I went out Sunday night. Well, this weekend is the first weekend I have 0 plans.
Nice.
I thought so too, until last night, till yesterday. I got up and I did a couple of things and went to my mom's and came, took and got the car wash, and then I came home and I'm here at 4 o'clock, and I'm sat down, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch some TV, and I got bored. I was sitting there and I'm like, I got to the point where I was sitting on the edge of the couch. I was so unsettled from just not having anything to do.
You have perked my ears. My ears are pricked up and listening.
And I'm actually going to work through this with you on here because
So when you're bored and you are, sounds like crawling out of your skin to do something.
Something. It didn't, like, I took the dog out for a walk, right? I did those things that I would know to do. You know, they'll, like,
Sounds to me like you were avoiding something.
I was. I don't know if I was. I don't know what it was. I just felt so unsettled and, like, bored. And I actually was like, well, maybe HP is telling me maybe I should go on the dating site. No, I'm not doing that because I'm like, and this was a conversation in my head. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that because the one thing I'm not doing this time around is I always, when I get a little bit bored or I feel lonely, and I didn't even feel lonely. That's what's funny about it. It wasn't a lonely feeling. I felt bored.
So you wanted to do something.
Yes, and there was that flicker of a thought. I'll just, I'm sitting here. I'll just go on the dating apps, right? And maybe it's time to get back out there. But then I was like, well, no, you promised yourself that you would not do that. That when you decided to go, when you were decided you were ready to date again, it would be from a very conscious place. I want to do this now, and I'm going to do it in the middle of, like, just using like a middle of the afternoon, intentionally going on. Not I'm sitting on the couch on a Friday, Saturday night and bored.
So maybe that's all the lesson was. Right? Maybe the reason you were sitting there bored on the edge of your seat trying to figure out whether or not you wanted to get on the dating site is so that your higher power could determine if you were actually ready for the next step.
Oh. Well, I didn't think of it that way.
Like, right? Like, I mean, think about the past. Every other time that you've been sitting on the couch, bored at the edge of your seat, feeling the way you felt yesterday.
Yep.
You've gone right back to the dating apps. Or you've gone right back to filling your time with friends. Or you went back to this or to that. What did you do this time?
Well, once I got through the feeling, and that's really what it was. Is like I sat on the edge of I literally just sat on the edge of the couch for a while. And
wait. You just felt your feeling for a little while?
I did. I sat on the edge of the couch and I just sat here. I was just sitting there like, And I'm looking around. I didn't have the TV on. I had hit pause on the show I was watching. There was nothing in the house. Colin was in his bedroom, quiet. There was nothing going on. And I just sat on the edge of the couch, just sat there. And I thought about it. Why? You're feeling bored. And then I actually got up and I went in my bedroom to change clothes because I was still in my, day clothes. And I went up to put my jammies on, and I actually was having a conversation with myself, well, Dawn, you're used to doing things every weekend. It's good to have stillness. It's okay to have stillness. It's, right, this is, you don't need to be overly busy all the time. You don't need to, right? Because my life is usually Friday nights are the only night I would have free, right? Everything, all my other days and evenings are filled. This weekend, it wasn't the case, right? I could have texted somebody and done a coda call, right? I could have jumped on a meeting, or I could have, but in that case, I feel like it would have been an avoidance of stillness. Avoidance of it's okay to feel where you're at, what's going on, and work yourself through it.
Yeah, what I hear you saying is that last night a feeling came up that normally you would have avoided by filling yourself with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of avoiding it, you faced it head on. You talked yourself through it. You felt what you needed to feel. And then what? Just let it go, hung out, relaxed, enjoyed the rest of your evening?
Exactly. We're talking a matter of a couple of hours feeling because of that I went through this. And then I found a show to watch, a new show, and I was all in. And then I'm all curled up on the couch and all comfy and binge watching that show. And I was just as happy as could be. And I went to bed.
Yeah, so, I mean, to me, that sounds like growth. That sounds like awareness that you've been asking for that you haven't had up until last night.
Well, thank you for that because it felt pretty, I mean, like, right, I did this whole process. I worked through it, right? And I mean, I know that logically.
Did it feel dirty? Did it kind of feel like you were sitting in your own shit for a little while?
It felt gross, yeah. Like, it just was like, I don't know. And I'm sitting here, and it's funny you can't see me, but I'm like moving my shoulders around like this whole time we've been talking about it. I'm like, ew, like my shoulders are moving, and I'm like trying to like get something off my shoulders and get it off my back, and because I've told you that it starts in the middle of my back and crawls its way up to my head, and so I've been trying that's what I felt like. That's what I felt like. I felt gross and dirty, and then I didn't feel gross and dirty anymore.
That almost sounds like a step 4, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, really, it sounds to me like that exact situation that you were talking about. While, yes, it felt not great in the moment, you were sitting in your own shit, quite literally, not literally, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then you pulled yourself out of it, and you cleaned yourself off, and you moved forward. That is codependence recovery right there, right? If you were in your codependency, instead of feeling bad and working through it and talking to yourself and examining it, you would have just jumped on that dating site and talked to the first guy that liked you.
Oh, yeah. Been there, done that. Been there, done that.
So, way to not avoid your feelings.
Thanks. Well, let's look at some ways. And thanks for that, because I kind of let it go, and I actually had forgot about it this morning until we were just talking right now, and then I was like, oh, hey, I need to share this with her.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, that's like, right, what we're talking about right now is exactly what we were going to talk about this week is the avoidance pattern.
Yeah, so let's look at some ways that what it looks like to avoid. I'm just going to read the first one. Codependents often act in ways that invite others to reject, shame, or express anger toward them.
Now, wait a minute. What do you mean? Because how in the world could I invite someone to reject, shame, or express anger towards me?
I was going to ask you the same thing.
I think one of the first things that we do is be there for them no matter how they treat us.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, when somebody comes at me and they start yelling and pointing fingers and tell me how terrible I am, instead of laughing at them and walking away, my first codependent reaction is to show them and explain to them and to make them understand that I am not any of those things.
Okay, wait, I'm confused. I'm really confused here for a sec, because we're talking avoidance patterns, but you're talking about somebody else, and I'm not walking away. Well, don't you mean avoidance patterns avoiding other people?
It could be, but a lot of times avoidance patterns are more like avoiding ourselves by allowing other people's opinions in.
Okay, all right.
So, like in this situation, how can I act in a way that invites someone to reject, shame, or express anger towards me? The only way that I invite someone to do that is by staying around while they do it. So if someone rejects me and I'm like, oh no, I love you, please don't reject me. And they're like, all right, fine, I guess I won't, come here. I've just invited them to reject me again and again and again. If someone berates me and points their finger and screams and yells, and I stand there and I yell back and I try to convince them that what they're saying is wrong and what they're doing is mean, and I stand there and I argue and I bicker and I come at them, and I'm literally just telling them that I will interact with you and I will pay attention to your anger. Now, that doesn't mean that I think I should just run away anytime somebody's angry, right? Because that's avoidance also. But at the same time, I cannot avoid my own boundaries by allowing somebody to treat me any type of way they want and still exposing myself to it. That's an invitation.
Okay, so what you're saying is I set a boundary, or I expect something, or whatever word you want to put into that blank, and I don't stand by that, or I overly stand by that, and people reject, shame, or express anger toward me. That is not healthy.
Absolutely. Right?
Okay.
In recovery, I act in ways that encourage loving and healthy responses from others. So I speak to people the way I want to be spoken to, and I only engage with people when they are speaking to me the way I want to be spoken to.
So when I'm expressing my boundary, when I'm healthy, and I do it lovingly, right? And that doesn't mean I love the person. It just means I do it from a caring, honest, authentic place. And if they don't do it, then I can just say, okay, and walk away.
Absolutely. I mean, really, what other option do we have other than saying okay and walk, right? Either I accept your feelings and expose myself to them, or I accept your feelings and don't expose myself to them, or I reject your feelings. Someone else's feelings, in my opinion, cannot be rejected. They are theirs, they are their feelings. Rejecting their feelings simply isn't, like, in my opinion, I cannot tell somebody else you're wrong for feeling that way. They feel how they feel. So for me, rejecting their opinion, I mean, even still, you can either reject their opinion and stick around and convince them that they're wrong, or you can reject their opinion and disengage and walk away. Right? So whether or not I agree with their opinion, I guess doesn't matter. But either I stay in the vicinity and I stay engaged, which is giving permission and inviting, or I walk away. If I stay in the vicinity and I stay engaged and attempt to convince them to feel something else, I am still inviting them to reject, shame, or express anger. I'm not encouraging loving and healthy responses. But if they are coming at me in a loving and healthy way, then in order to not avoid, I need to sit down and engage.
See, I really liked this one in recovery because there was quite a few that I liked because of this reason, right? It kind of, I never thought I could do certain things. And when I realized in recovery, I can walk away, or I can walk away. There's just no other way to say it. I can walk away and I don't have to engage. I was like, well, this is awesome. Like, man, I it's okay to just turn around and say okay and walk away. It's okay to just say thank you and walk away.
What if you say thank you and walk away, or turn around and walk away, and then you have to walk away every time you interact with somebody and you're not able to interact with them anymore, though?
That's okay. Right? It's okay.
Well, but doesn't that make me an asshole because I won't interact with them anymore?
But doesn't it make you more of an asshole if you just keep nagging the shit out of them?
That, and who would I rather be an asshole to, them or myself?
Exactly.
Right, a lot of times for me, with codependency recovery, it comes down to Would I rather be an asshole to them, or would I rather be an asshole to me? Because I'm never trying to be mean to them. Normally, what happens when I get into a situation where there's rejection, shame, or anger, normally that situation is about me attempting to make someone see me differently, or me attempting to make someone do something differently. And if I disengage from those two things, then by default, I'm allowing them to do what they want, and I am seeing what they want.
So
And
this,
at the same time, still being supportive of myself.
So something you said took me into the next one.
Okay, so the next one, what is it? Codependents often judge harshly what others think, say, or do. Oh, yeah.
Right? Because, and you shared a story with me earlier about someone that was always judging someone else. And that's what I thought of earlier, and I forgot to share it with you, was when I judge, I'll just use when I judge other people harshly, it's usually more about me than it is about them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I find when I'm judging other people, usually the things that I'm judging them about are things I don't like about myself, or the things I'm judging them about are things that are going to hurt me, right? I'm trying to protect myself in some way.
Right. I don't want to, and that could mean not looking, like if I'm judging, let's say I'm judging you for the way you talk. I don't know. I'm pulling out something because I'm using that one because everybody knows how eloquent I think you speak. So if I judge you for speaking eloquently, and that's really about me feeling less than.
Right. And then the other side of that too that I find is when I am judging anyone else, it's usually also goes in line with me judging myself.
Correct.
And it may not even be, right, like I might be judging you on the way you speak, but feel like I speak extremely well. What I find in that case is, while I'm judging you on the way you speak, it really has nothing to do with the way you speak. It has to do with me feeling inadequate about myself in other situations even, and just using that one as an outlet. Right? So it may not have anything to do with how you talk. I might be judging myself because I don't know, I talk too loud. Or I might be judging myself because I don't talk enough.
So what other things could we judge people about that would reflect on ourselves? I look at it, oh, she's so skinny. Oh, she's so skinny. Right? It could be a physical. Because then...
Yeah, you know, that's weird because I just that you said that next is weird to me because what we were just talking about, and then to say that, I am skinny. I am 5'3" and 105 pounds soaking wet. I have never judged anybody about their weight. And I've never worried about my weight. But I know people that do worry about their weight tend to judge people on their weight.
Right.
And that's not to say that skinny people judge fat people or fat people judge skinny people. That's to say that someone who looks in the mirror and is not okay with how they look is going to judge other people on how they look. It may not even be weight. It might be their clothes are dirty, or their hair isn't done right, or they have too much makeup on, or they don't have enough makeup. Like, who knows?
Right. I remember talking to someone who they're black, And them looking at their the difference in skin color, where I don't feel basically, oh, this, she's so dark and she's so beautiful and she's just got such a great complexion and my skin's just light, right? That's a judging of themselves. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not dark enough.
It's again, you say that. I used to judge myself that way. I am pale and redheaded. Casper all day long. I can't go in the sun or else I will get a sunburn. And to go to the beach, I used to go tan for 3 days first. Like, to wear a dress, I would buy lotion to make my skin tanner than it actually was, because to be that pale was just not acceptable.
That one I relate to very much. And I am a rarity. I do, having red hair and freckles, I actually tan very, very well. But I am super pale without a tan.
See, I don't tan. I burn.
Yeah, see, I'm lucky in that way. But it is to look, and people comment it on. It's crazy how many people comment on the paleness or the man, your legs are white.
Oh, yeah. Knobby knees, white legs. There was this one time I was walking through the grocery store with my 3 children, and my grocery cart was literally full to the top, right? Like, we went once a month grocery shopping, so the cart was overflowing. And this larger lady walked by, and she was like, ugh, you need to eat some of the food in that cart. And my oldest
people
daughter,
are assholes.
They really are. But my oldest daughter lost her ever-loving mind. And I was just like, why are you... So what if that's her opinion? I don't care about her opinion. And it really is, if it's something that I don't feel negatively about myself, something I do not judge myself on, I don't judge other people on that either. So if I find myself judging harshly or even judging someone else, I really need to look at what it is I am judging them on, and then I need to find my mirror.
So right, that like, I'm a plus size woman, and I've talked about that, and it's really crazy because I used to judge myself compared to others a lot. And then once I kind of got into CODA and I rewired my brain, and I realized, like, I can sit here and logically say, I've had this happen, I've had this happen, I've had this happen. And it is hard for me to lose weight. You could say maybe the same thing. It's hard for me to gain weight.
Oh, it's impossible.
Right?
The other day, I had McDonald's for lunch, and then I got to work, and they were having pizza, so I had 2 slices of pizza for lunch, too, and I think I lost 5 pounds that day. It's very literally impossible.
And it's so funny for you, because we are such extremes. So what is your beverage of choice? What do you drink from morning till night?
Mountain Dew. 4 cans a day, every day, all day. I do not drink water. I do not drink milk. I do not pass go. I go straight to the refrigerator, open a can of Dew, and it is literally with me all day.
And I'm sure you're not drinking the zero.
No, hell no. It is regular, full-fledged Mountain Dew. The green can, it comes out of the can. No zero, no watered down, none of that. No.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
McDonald's.
Okay. How many times did you eat out yesterday?
Only once yesterday because I went to the baby shower.
Okay, and I'm not picking on you because I'm going to share the contrast of what my life looks like.
I literally do not pay attention to what I eat. If I get hungry and I have a craving for something, I grab it and I eat it, and I eat as much of it as I want. And actually 9 times out of 10, I have to remind myself, hey, I didn't eat in the last 2 or 3 hours. I need to go get something to eat.
And I think most people kind of come at it with, oh, you drink soda and you eat fast food, so that's why you're overweight.
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not overweight at all, and I
Right,
drink soda
at
and
all.
eat fast food all the time.
Exactly.
all
Right,
like literally every day.
Right. And I used to judge myself and others around that. I don't drink soda at all, ever. I don't eat fast food. I think the last time I had fast food was Culver's, and I had just a tenderloin sandwich, and that was probably 3 months ago.
Yeah, no.
I don't. Right,
Total opposites.
Right, total opposite. But then you look at us, put us next to each other. Physically, we're total opposites.
But it's in the opposite way, right?
Exactly.
Based off how you eat, you would expect yourself to be socially skinny, right?
Yes.
Based off your diet and what society says the best diet is and
Yep.
how you should eat in order to look your best.
Yep.
You would expect yourself to be like a size 2.
Yeah.
And the way I eat, you would probably expect me to be like a size 10 or a size 12. I don't know. But
Yep.
it's actually the opposite.
Exactly.
I am
And
teeny tiny.
But I think, and what I think about this is that's where I had to rewire my brain, right? Because society says this, that, and the other thing about the way we look and what we eat, put in our bodies, that is not a true statement. There are other factors
Absolutely.
that contribute to that thing. And so once I realized that and kind of accepted that and grasped a hold of what that truly meant, then I could let go of that feeling less than in what my body looked like. Now, that doesn't mean, man, it'd be great if I could lose, 100 pounds, 50 pounds actually. But okay, what am I going to have to do that? I've done it. I've tried it. Like, even I've been on medication from the doctor to lose weight. I get to a certain weight, it just stops happening.
Do you know I have done the exact same things in the opposite way? When I tell you, so like literally, this is why judging other people is so detrimental to us and to them. Dawn, when you look at a picture of me, and this is not to come at you in any way, right, we've talked
Yeah, you're
about this
good.
before. When you look at a picture of me physically, what are your thoughts about how I feel about how I look?
I think you love yourself. I think you are beautiful. You're confident in the way you look. And yeah, that's what I think.
I would give anything to put on 30 pounds. To be this skinny, literally, I'm 5'3". I am 105 pounds. I wear a size 2. To be this skinny, I am cold all the time. I cannot sit down for more than 10 minutes without my butt falling asleep. My knees hurt because there is no fat to cushion anything. Fat is what keeps us warm. Fat is what keeps us comfortable. Fat protects our bones. Society says that a size 2 is what we should be. That's what's healthy. That's what looks good. As a size 2, I can tell you, it's not. My head looks too big for my body half of the time. My hair looks bigger than my shoulders. My collarbones stick out farther than my boobs. And I have absolutely no cushion to sit down or stay warm. But I do love myself because that's who I am. I know I am gorgeous. Right? It is just to say that just says to the point that there is not a single person who doesn't wish they could change something. So every time we are judging someone else, just know that our judgment is not anything compared to their own.
Exactly.
They judge themselves much harder than we will ever judge them.
Nobody can judge me as harshly as I judge myself.
And I think that's true even for people that we think
Have it all?
or don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Those people that we think they're just alone and don't care and it doesn't hurt them and they're cold-hearted and they have no feelings, I guarantee you those people, whoever you're thinking about when I describe that, they are judging themselves just as harshly as you are judging them, even if we don't see it.
And it might not be about their body. It could be about, here's one thing. Hey, I have had curly hair. I know you can appreciate this because we both have curly hair. I have always had curly hair, and there has been so many times in my life that I would be like, man, I wish my hair was straight. Oh man, I wish my hair was like hers and straight. But the thing about it is, a shift in my mindset was, oh, wait a minute. I can have curly and straight hair because I can just straighten my hair. But the other person has to work really hard to get curly hair. Right? It's just those that mental thought process of always wanting what we don't have.
That's it. Always being an open-minded and willing to accept myself and other people as they are, right?
Yep.
For a long time, I hated my curly hair. I shaved my head when I was a teenager because I hated my curly hair. I heard this rumor that if you shaved your head, your hair would grow back straight.
I remember that rumor.
I shaved my head to try to get my hair to grow back straight. It was so bad. Oh my God. And now I would never trade my hair for straight hair. I love my hair. I can't straighten my hair. It takes me 3 hours to straighten it, and as soon as I step outside, it gets curly again. Yes.
Right.
Literally, like I'm not even exaggerating. But whereas I used to just try to hide it and I'd pull it back in a real tight ponytail and I'd like straighten it all the time as much as I could and I shaved it, and now I love my hair. My hair is one of the things I love best about my physical appearance. And it's insane how, that's a 180-degree difference from where I was 6 years ago.
So, talking about all these judgments that we have, it kind of rolls into the next one. And codependents often avoid emotional, physical, or sexual intimacy as a way to maintain distance. And I'm thinking about this in kind of two ways. Right? So if I'm over here judging myself harshly, how do I ever expect to have a healthy emotional, physical, or sexual intimacy?
And if I'm over here judging you harshly, how do I ever expect you to feel safe enough to have emotional, physical, or sexual intimacy?
So, by loving myself in my purest form of who I am, what I look like, right? There are times that I will be like, it's going to be harder for me to find somebody being plus size, because men out there, they just want somebody skinny. That's not what we're talking about here. Emotional, physical, and sexual intimacy does not come from the way my body is shaped or how curly my hair is. But it does, my mental capacity around that and my mental thoughts around that does affect it.
Right. If I don't like myself, I'm going to do everything I can. So intimacy is into me, you see. If I don't like what I see when I look into me, how am I going to let somebody else look into me?
Exactly.
In recovery, I engage in emotional, physical, or sexual intimacy when it is healthy and appropriate for me. So, right, another side to this would be, we talked about it earlier in the low self-esteem patterns, right? Another side of this is not only avoiding it, but engaging in it when it's not right. I think a lot of times it's either one extreme or the other, right? A lot of times either I am avoiding intimacy at all costs because I'm afraid, or I'm overly engaging in intimacy at all costs because I'm afraid.
So I said, when we talked about low self-esteem, said we were talking about the whole sexual part of it, and just to recap on what that one was, it was, where is it? I don't know, maybe you can find it. Oh, accept a sexual intention when they want love. It's actually a compliance pattern. Um, I have always, I don't want to use the word always, my tendency has always been to use sex as a tool, as to get attention, to get um, acknowledged, recognized, right? To feel better in my skin. I'm putting that in quotes. Um, but that's not what we're talking about here, right? What I had to realize was sex and intimacy are not the same thing. They are so far from being the same thing. And what we're talking about here is a connection. Right? You can have an emotional connection, you can have a physical connection, and you can have sexual connection with someone. But that doesn't mean it's not about the physical act of sex. That to me was a tool. That was what I thought it was. I was looking for intimacy, and I would go out and I would find it in sex with a partner. But how are you going to find that? You can't find it because it's not the same thing. What I had to realize was I engage in emotional, physical, and sexual intimacy, and I create a connection with someone. So I have to find a person that can offer that to me. I have to have it with myself to be able to find that in someone else.
And
So,
I think, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to go how that plays into the next one. So finish what you
okay.
were saying first.
Okay. So what I had to realize is that I can have emotional intimacy, and I had to understand what is emotional intimacy. Coda has given me emotional intimacy. I have emotional intimacy every single day when I have a conversation with you, with my sponsees, when I go to meetings. Now I'm finding that outside of Coda with my friends, and understanding what emotional intimacy looks like. I can now take that with me down the road when I'm looking for a romantic partner. Physical intimacy, right? Physical intimacy is non-sexual. I look at it, right, what I'm talking about here is non-sexual touching, right? The put with my partner or with someone is putting my hand on my shoulder, touching someone's arm, right? Touching someone's leg, right?
Physical intimacy.
Exactly. You and I talked about a while back the hand on the small of the back.
Yes. That's a big one for me. That and in the car when you put your hand on someone's leg and they kind of lift their leg into your hand.
Yes.
Or holding hands.
Yeah. Right. Or just even my ex-husband and I used to, we wouldn't hold hands because he had bigger hands. So like my fingers would be stretched. I don't have very big hands for as big as I am. It's weird. But, so my fingers would always be really stretched. So instead of doing it that way, we had our own little way to hold hands. That is physical intimacy because I never held hands with someone like I held hands with him.
Absolutely.
Right? Those are those little unique things. And I'm going to go into sexual intimacy really quick. One of the things about sexual intimacy, and I didn't realize this, is right, I have to have sexual intimacy with myself. I have to know me. I have to know what my body likes, what my body doesn't like. I have to be able to understand me. That's what this is about. I can only engage in emotional, physical, and sexual intimacy when it is healthy and appropriate for me. It's because I know me.
And the only way to do that is to not do the next one.
Yeah.
Codependents often allow addictions to people, places, and things to distract them from intimacy in relationships.
This is an interesting one, Ashley.
So if I am constantly worrying about what other people think, say, feel, and do, if I'm constantly worrying about this person who is addicted to this thing and is putting this thing first in their lives, then how am I possibly growing and intentionally creating a connection? How am I possibly letting this person see me if I am constantly distracted by them and what they are doing?
So when you say addicted to people, places, and things, and this is right, this is a big one, basis of codependency. When I think of addictions, or I hear the addictions, and I think some people as well probably go here, is right, we're talking alcohol, drugs, food. But you're talking addiction to people, places, and things, or you're saying addictions to people, places, and things. Is that similar to being like drugs and alcohol and sex and gambling and...
Oh, it's the same, but it's different. So, once upon a time, a very long time ago, I was watching Dr. Phil, and I heard him say that he would describe addiction. If you are an addict, you are addicted to something. The way you figure out if you're an addict is if that thing is interfering with your ability to live a happy day-to-day life. So when I say I am addicted to people, places, and things, it doesn't mean that anybody that pops up, I'm just all over them all the time, nonstop, forever. What that means is helping someone else, fixing someone else, worrying about someone else's thoughts, feelings, and opinions allow me to not worry about my own thoughts, feelings, and opinions. It allows me to not think about my own people, places, and things because I'm worried about somebody else's people, places, and things. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I think the best way to say it as simply as possible is when I put someone, someplace, or something above me, that's when I'm being codependent.
Now, let's talk about that one a little bit for a minute, because Is there ever a time where I can want something and I can, or I maybe it's not the best thing because it would negatively impact, right? Like if I'm married and if I have a family, it's important to do what is best for me, but at the same time, don't I have a responsibility to my family?
Well, nobody's saying you don't have other responsibilities. What I'm saying here is if I say, oh, Ashley wants this, and I'm going to give it to Ashley, and I'm not going to take me into consideration, meaning I only have $20 in my bank account and what you need is $50, and I'm going to go in a hole for you and hurt me because I can't pay my electric bill and my lights are going to be shut off. That's not healthy.
What if you have $50 in your bank account and your bills are only $10, which means you have $40 extra dollars, and if you don't give this $40 to your friend might not get dinner tonight, but you really wanted to use this $40 to buy yourself a new outfit that you have been looking at, like you wanted this money for yourself.
Well, I think you have to look at patterns, right? Have I given you $50 40, 50 times, 20 times, 10 times, right? And your patterns are, I just need it. I'm not going to be able to eat tonight. I'll pay you back. I get paid next Friday. You will be my first thing I pay.
So you would take into consideration history and that person and yourself. What if what you need or what you want is going to hurt the other person, even though...
Well, how do you define, or how do we define how something is going to hurt or not hurt somebody else? How do we determine that? Can we determine that?
I mean, if I want $20 for dinner and you say no, I'm going to be pissed off. My feelings are going to be hurt in some way, shape, or form.
Well, I'm sorry for your feelings I'm sorry. I'm not apologizing for the person's feelings, right? I'm sorry. I can't help you out. But I can't help you out.
What if what you're going to give to that person, it wouldn't hurt you to give, but it wouldn't hurt them to not have, or right? What if you're asking for something from someone? What if you're asking to have dinner with someone? I would like to just have dinner. I miss you. I want to spend some time with you. I want to have dinner with you. And that person doesn't want to have dinner with you. I mean, it's not going to hurt them to have dinner with you. It wouldn't interfere in their life to have dinner with you. They're just watching TV anyways, so it would probably be good for them to have dinner with you, but they still don't want to have dinner with you.
Well, maybe if they're just sitting there watching TV and it wouldn't hurt them to have dinner with them, who says that for the last 6 nights and 6 days they have been go, 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 and this is their one night at home and they need to sit at home?
So are you saying that it's none of my business why they are doing what they're doing or saying what they're saying? I just need to accept it?
Exactly. People don't do shit because of how it's going to impact me.
But shouldn't they consider how it's going to impact me?
No. No, I'm going to say that no, but I'm also going to say this. If they are coming about it from a respectful, safe and respectful way to me, has nothing to do with me, doesn't affect me, thank you, next, keep it moving. Now, if they come at me in a harmful way, then I can say something about it. Then, because I have to protect myself. But that could mean click. That could mean, I'm just dead, radio silence in text messaging. Put the phone down. Maybe silence those notifications so they aren't popping up like, right? There's ways to walk away.
Okay. Right. I mean, I think that really is the main part of it, right? In recovery, in recovery, I practice my recovery to develop healthy and fulfilling relationships. If I am forcing someone to spend time with me or to do something with me, that is not a fulfilling relationship. Mm-hmm. If I am constantly convincing them, that is not a fulfilling relationship. And if I am in recovery, I would not remain in a relationship that's not fulfilling. If I was, that would be an addiction.
Right.
So, codependents often use indirect or evasive communication to avoid conflict or confrontation. That's the next one. And I think that really relates to what we're saying, right?
Yes.
Because instead of saying to someone, no, I can't come over for dinner tonight, I need some time alone, codependents often will just not answer the phone. Or they will say, oh, I'm really tired. Do we have to do dinner tonight? Or, hey, could you wait until maybe Friday? I'm having a long day, and maybe I don't know if I can really make it. Or maybe a codependent will walk in the door and what they want to say is, why didn't you take the garbage out? But instead what they'll do is, pull the bag out and slam the cupboard door and then slam the garbage can lid and then slam the front door and then come back in and stomp to the kitchen and say, why isn't dinner done? When really all they wanted to do is say, hey, why didn't you take the garbage out?
Been there, done that. Oh my God, have I been there, done that one?
And in recovery, I use direct and straightforward communication to resolve conflicts and deal appropriately with confrontation.
So that's what I was saying earlier, right? Using direct and straightforward communication. If someone is coming at me harshly or is yelling at me or being aggressive, I can turn around and walk away. That is straightforward communication that I am not going to engage with you.
Absolutely. There's no other way to write it. I mean, and I may even look at somebody and say, I'm not communicating like this, and then turn around and leave.
Right. But
that is very, very straightforward. And when I have a problem or I have an issue or there's a conflict, I need to be straightforward and deal appropriately. That doesn't mean that every single thing that happens is a catastrophe. That also doesn't mean that every single thing that happens is just a molehill that we should step over. There has to be appropriate levels of communication or dealing with in order to resolve conflict.
So, have you ever had it where you're having a conflict with your partner or someone, and it's really, you've heard what they're saying, and you really just don't have, like, anything that you know is going to come out of your mouth is not going to go over well, and wanted to say, I hear what you're saying, but I need a few minutes, I need some time to kind of process this, and I would like to come back to it and be able to have a further discussion around it.
Yes, there have been times like that, yes.
Is that straightforward and direct and healthy communication?
Absolutely.
Well, why? Because to me, what I'm doing is avoiding it.
Well, but you're not avoiding it. What you're doing is saying, hey, I need to process. Let's come back to this. And you're taking a pause to process. It's only avoidance if I don't come back to it.
What if I don't come back to it right away? Let's say I need a couple of days.
As long as you communicate that, it's not avoidance. If I get in a fight with my partner and then I storm out and I'm gone for 3 hours and then come home and don't talk and have dinner and go to bed, that's avoidance. But if I get in a fight with my partner and I storm out and then I come back and I say, hey, listen, I'm still cooling off. Let's address this tomorrow. That's a pause. That's healthy communication.
What happens if that situation happens and then you guys are going out later with friends and it kind of just, life happens and things are good and I don't want to bring up, it's like things are good. I really just don't want to bring that back up.
That's actually the best time to bring that back up.
Well, why? Because
things are
going
good. Because things are good. Because you're in a good place. They're in a good place. I'm in a good place. If you're in a good place and I'm in a good place, isn't that a way better time to have a hard conversation than if you're in a bad place and I'm in a bad place? Like, if you have a hard conversation and things are already hard, isn't that just going to make it even harder?
Right? Things are going to be said and actions are going to be taken that maybe will multiply the situation by 1,000.
Instead of making it better or lessening it.
Right. But I think that goes to intention, right? If my intention is to be right, I'm going to bring it up when things aren't good. Because I'm so focused on being right.
I think a lot of times people don't even give a second thought, like, or even a first thought. I think most of the time people do not even know what their intention is in having a conversation or a conflict or communication. I think usually somebody gets their feelings hurt, and once my feelings are hurt, something's going to happen. I'm not even like examining why are my feelings hurt, what caused my feelings to be hurt, and what do I want out of this communication. I'm just spewing things out and expecting them to take it in.
So let's say I am capable, because of recovery, to evaluate my feelings and process what I'm going through, and then come back to my partner intentionally with what I want to work through. But my partner doesn't do that. And so they are coming from still this crazy, unhealthy point. How do you make that work?
I mean, I can't make anything work. What I can do is say what I need to say and stand up for myself and be authentic and live with integrity in a kind and compassionate manner. If they can't hear it, they can't hear it. At some point, I just have to decide to accept that they can't hear it. Or I have to decide to accept that I don't need to say it. If I need to say it and they can't hear it, then they are not the person for me to say it to.
Well, when you're saying you need to say something, but Ashley, I need them to understand my point of view.
No, that's control. You don't need them to do anything. You need yourself to do something. You need to speak up for yourself. You need to say what you feel, but you can't make them anything. You can't make them understand. You can't make them hear. You can't make them listen. You can't make them take it in. You can't. When I examine my intention, if my goal is to make them anything, I need to not do it.
Ashley, I think that's a really good place to kind of stop today.
I like that too. I know we're only about halfway through the avoidance patterns.
We are, yes.
But so we could pick them up next week.
Yeah, definitely. We'll how about we just plan on wrapping up avoidance patterns next time?
And that will actually wrap up all of our codependent characteristics. Codependence often.
Yeah, it will. It will. So then we can venture into a new topic.
Yay, I'm excited. All right. Well, thank you, listeners. And thank you, Dawn. Yet another wonderful podcast. I truly enjoy it.
So, Ashley, I gotta remind you of something. Do you remember what we were doing a year ago today? Well, about a year ago.
I think we were planning our first podcast, weren't we?
Yes, we were.
Isn't that crazy?
We were. Right? So, yeah, we are very close to January 3rd will be a year when our podcast came out. We started recording, I think, 3 weeks before that, so the first part of December. So we're hitting a year mark.
Gosh, that's so crazy. I can't believe it's been that long already. I know the other day I was thinking, like, wait, have I been in CODA for 2 years or 3 years? And it has been almost 3 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy how time flies.
It does. And I to look back, because I'm hip 5 years this way. And to look back 5 years ago, like,
I'm a different person.
I am I'm not a little different. I am completely almost a different person.
Like, there's so many things about me that are the same and that are extremely strong character traits. But then there's so many other things about me that just aren't even there at all anymore. Yeah, it's crazy. And I'm just going back 3 years. The difference is outstanding.
I think that would be maybe a good podcast talking about how life has changed in recovery. Like basically looking back the before and
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. So a couple weeks we'll do that one and then we'll get that out. Holidays are coming up, so great time to talk about gratitude and new beginnings and higher powers. So a lot going on in the next couple of months or month and a half. So I'm really excited.
Me too. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week, and you too, Dawn.
Thanks. You too. Talk to you later.
Bye.
We would like to thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery. Visit the Work It website at workitYouAreWorthIt.com to submit your questions and topics for future episodes. And remember, work it because you are worth it.